Good morning. It's Wednesday, February 28th. And not only are we in danger politically in this country and in the world, but we also have an enemy that we can't control. And many like her, and many will learn to despise her. And I am talking about the world-famous Mother Nature. Mother Nature is carrying on in a method that is going to destroy this world. She has decided that her life has been spent in a too cool atmosphere. And so she has gone about raising her temperature so that she can feel more comfortable. And this is going to possibly destroy many parts of the world. And let me tell you, one of the major areas in which she has chosen to use her powers, and this is the power of the temperature. Mother Nature has raised the water temperature in the oceans and in the seas. And the result of this is a monumental disaster that is going on. It's definitely proceeding. It has resulted in new findings on the Antarctica's doomsday glacier. You hear that word, doomsday. That's the critical word. The doomsday glacier, which is roughly the size of Florida, is melting. It's melting at historic level, and it's due to climate change. And it could raise the sea level by several feet. Feet, not inches, feet. By several feet. Think about that. If the sea levels rise by several feet, will Long Island continue to exist? We have so many people on Long Island that are building homes too close to the ocean now. Can you imagine what happens when the sea level rises? Just think about that. Houses floating away. So scientists have looked back in time to reconstruct the past life of the Doomsday Glacier. And that's a nickname. It has another name, the Thwaites Glacier. And they have discovered that it started to retreat in the 1940s. So that's 80 years ago this glacier has been retreating. And this glacier is in the West Antarctica. And it's the world's widest glacier. And scientists knew that it had been losing ice at an accelerated rate since the 1970s. So can you imagine? That's over 50 years ago this thing started to lose ice and retreat. So it must have been monstrous if it's still the size of Florida. But they don't know how significant the melting really is or was. Now there is an answer to this question according to a study published Monday in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. And it has taken analyzing marine sediment cores that have been extracted from the ocean floor. And researchers found the glacier began to significantly retreat in the 1940s, likely kicked off by a very strong El Nino event, a natural climate fluctuation that tends to have a warming impact. So El Nino is now being blamed in part for the dissolution of the Doomsday Glacier. But beyond the natural causes, the human causes of increasing the heat in our environment have a tremendous global warming effect. And we have to watch what happens to this glacier, the aptly named Doomsday Glacier, instead of its regular name of the Thwaites Glacier. Let me tell you this astounding figure. This glacier has already contributed 4% to the sea level rise. It is shedding billions billions of tons of ice a year into the ocean. So imagine that, shedding billions of tons of ice into the ocean and still existing at the size of Florida. If it completely collapses at some point in time, sea levels will rise by more than 2 feet. Now that doesn't sound like much, a 2-foot rise of sea level. But think about how many square miles of ocean there is. And if all of those oceans and lakes and rivers and whatever else there is associated with this damn thing, if they're going to rise by 2 feet, that's huge. That's huge because your 2 feet in certain places might be 6 feet when it contracts, when it's crammed into a small space. There might be people living at the edge of a river or something that find out that their houses disappear. Now, this glacier also plays a vital role in the stability of the West Antarctic ice sheet because it acts like a cork holding back lots of ice that exists behind it. So if this glacier disappears, that ice will be free to run wild, and that could cause a rise in sea levels by at least 10 feet, and that would be catastrophic global flooding. So while we think about this thing and we think about this ice sheet and this glacier, the Thwaites Glacier, existing but disappearing slowly, and thinking about the immense danger that it is protecting us from, we, the human race, has to be prepared for this event. And it's not going to be our generation that needs to be prepared, it's the next generation. And maybe the generation after that. Are they ready for this? Is anybody teaching and explaining and helping them get ready for a disaster that may occur in 50 years or 25 years or 100 years? Who knows? But think of the catastrophic event when cities are flooded out. It's hard to imagine, but it's staring us in the face if we care to look at it. So while I spent time talking about the Thwaites Glacier, that's not the only glacier out there that's melting. And we, the human race, has to be prepared for the changing climate. And we, the humans, are a major factor in the changing climate. And we have to be prepared to take steps to reduce the effects on the ice. But I don't know that we can. I might be too late. So while geologists are focusing on the past, they are not afraid to tell you that the future is a problem. And we must come to grips with this at some point in time. And now, as we look at this, many out there will think this is a minor thing. We don't have to worry about it now. There are too many other horrible things going on in the world. And that's true. But we have to pay attention to our environment. And if we can get the ice to stop retreating, that will be a wonderful thing. But then, knowing the way we go about things, this might not ever happen. Have a great day. Bye.